it's John McCabe. Welcome to the show. Hey, and welcome to the John A. McCabe Show, where it's all about accelerating your authority in your business or field of expertise. And we do that by helping entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed on any device, anywhere, anytime, within as little as 100 days, also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, today's guest is one of the stars of the A&E show, Flipping San Diego, a #1 best-selling author and the former member of the U.S. Navy. Now, I recently connected with Chris down in San Diego, where I was part of a select coaching team that helped him and 100 other clients launch their book to become Amazon #1 bestsellers. Now, Chris Bedgood was raised in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia, where at the age of 15 went through a very tremendous ordeal of having his mom attempt suicide. At the age of 17, he followed in the footsteps of his father and grandfather when he joined the U.S. Navy, where he served as an aircraft electrician and a naval air crewman participating in Operation Desert Storm. Now, after completing his service and leaving the Navy, Chris earned his FAA aircraft mechanic's license and worked as a private mechanic for wealthy corporate jet owners. Now, one day he asked his clients how they made all their money, and their response, and they responded with 2 words: real estate. And that was all the motivation Chris needed, and soon after he got his real estate license. But still wanting to work with his hands, Chris borrowed some money, found a mentor, and purchased his first dilapidated home to fix it up and resell. Now, that was the first of many and started his journey to becoming a self-proclaimed flip addict. To date, he has flipped hundreds of homes and completed millions of dollars in transactions during his career. Along with flipping houses, Chris has started a real estate investing education company, RevTrack, where he can pass on his knowledge to other wannabe investors who want a proven system and not have to build one on their own from scratch. Now, Chris gives them a step-by-step process that takes them from day one of bird dogging to wholesaling and into flipping houses within a custom online system. Now, they also offer over-the-phone coaching as well as accountability coaching, as well as in-market mentoring, where they fly a seasoned investor into your hometown to work with you over the span of 3 days to help you set up your business. So don't go away, because when I come back, I'm going to be joined by the star of Flipping San Diego, real estate investor, educator, and mentor, and my friend Chris Bedgood. But first, I have a clip of a clip from the A&E show, Flipping San Diego. So I'll be back in just a sec.
I've had to deal with making sure people get off the property during the day, you know, people coming and going, but I've never had people set up shop and live in the back. Look at this, man. We got squatters. I gotta see if anybody's been inside. No, that's nice. Freaking condoms. Hello? Somebody's gotten into my house. There's joint residue. Look at that. Taking showers. Somebody's been in here taking a shower. I mean, I got people sneaking in here somehow and then living in my garage. This is a nightmare, because I gotta board up the house. Now I feel bad because I gotta get rid of all these people's stuff. I gotta do it right though. You know, I've gotta call the police. I've gotta let them know. So the only thing I can do is put all their stuff out on the alley for a while, and then they can come get their stuff, and if it's not gone in a day, then I know nobody's coming back, and I'll just haul it out. Ouch. Oh yes. The life of a flipper. Hello now. Okay, I gotta get all this shit out of here right now. I wonder what's really in here. Ooh, actual sour cream and no fridge. This is a huge liability because we can't have people in here. They can start a fire, they can turn on the water, leave the water on and flood the whole house. Where's Chief, huh? Where the heck's Chief?
Done. I don't want to be in here anymore. Hey, thanks for joining us today. Today it's Real Estate Investing Monday, where we talk about the business of real estate investing. Now, regardless of the business you're in, mindset plays a very powerful part in the success or failure of your business. Now, it doesn't matter if you think you can or you think you can't. Either way, you're correct. As Napoleon Hill put it in his 17 Laws of Success, what the mind of a man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Now, Chris Bedgood knows this all too well. Having to deal with tragic situations in his past, he has managed to work through the challenges to build and grow a successful real estate investment, flipping business, education company, as well as being a coach and mentor. Now, Chris began his life as his adult life as a U.S. Navy aircraft electrician and naval flight engineer, air crewman. After serving in Desert Storm in the Persian Gulf War of 1991, Chris decided to get out of the Navy after 2 tours and 7 years of active duty. Now, he then went on to become a licensed aircraft mechanic and managed multi-million-dollar corporate jets for wealthy business people, namely Gulfstream 4 and 5 series. Now, several of his bosses were real estate mega millionaires, so Chris saw his future was in real estate. Now, after purchasing his first pre-foreclosure in 2001 for $200,000 and then reselling it for $475,000 a few years later, he was hooked. Now, Chris began buying property full-time in 2004. Unfortunately, didn't buy right all the time and had to short sell a few of his properties in 2008. But in 2009, he began flipping full-time again in San Diego and has a $1 million track record thus far. Sunny Skies Home Solutions has grown from a small wholesaler to a full-time house rehab company. So please give it up with likes, love, shares, and a virtual flurry of thumbs up and heart icons across the screen for my guest today, Chris Bedgood. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, how are you, John?
I'm doing well.
How are you doing out there? So good to see you.
Yeah, it was great seeing you as well. We caught up, was it 2 months ago? Last month,
Yeah.
2 months ago, something like that?
Yeah, not too long ago, yeah.
Down in sunny, I got to venture out of the the weather here in Alberta and head down to sunny San Diego for a few days and spent 3 days in an event with you, and then spent a couple days with a good friend of ours, Jim House, working on one of my books as well. So what have you been up to since I last saw you? You're busy working on your flipping houses?
I'm working on everything, man. I have 3 businesses. I call it real estate entrepreneurism because, as you well know, in real estate, you start maybe at the bottom, maybe bird dogging or something, and then wholesaling, joint venturing, and I call it multiple streams of income, right? Everyone should be looking for multiple streams of income. I look at it as being a real estate entrepreneur. So I'm a $1 million real estate agent. I work with a lot of multimillionaires, finding and selling their property. And I flip houses, I develop raw land, adding square footage. I do, believe it or not, I do a little bird dogging here and there. I find a little tidbit of a property information. I'll pass it off to somebody if I don't want it. Still wholesale properties. I just went and looked at a property over the weekend. Still trying to make a deal on that. Nice. You know, you got to keep the money coming in any which way you can in this business. That's
definitely true. As an entrepreneur, that's definitely true. Well, we're going to get into a lot of that stuff here in a little bit, but first, before we get too far into the interview, what I like to do with all my guests is a speed round of questions. Now, in case you haven't watched the show before, there's nothing you needed to study for. You're not going to be quizzed on it. There's no right or wrong answer. So what I'd like you to do is just come up with the first thing that comes to your mind, either a word or a few words or a sentence.
Sure.
And as well as anyone, if you're watching this live, please play along with us. Just type your answer in the comment field, and we can compare your answers afterwards with what Chris has to say. So are you all set, Chris?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So number 1, name the book that impacted your life the most.
Wow, that's a pretty big question since I'm hitting 47 years old now, and I've read a lot of books. I think the one that really came to mind when I was making setting goals to be a real estate entrepreneur, believe it or not, was The Millionaire Next Door. Okay. That really impacted me. I still refer to it sometimes. I tell all my students and friends that they really need to read The Millionaire Next Door because it just really breaks down the fact that cars and jet airplanes and multiple houses and possessions just aren't really what makes a millionaire.
Right.
It's actually less is more, and it would really impacted how I ran my business and set my goals. And another one is, believe it or not, a fun book called A Pirate Looks at 50 by Jimmy Buffett, the singer. Yep. Jimmy Buffett. It's a great book about his travels when he was turning 50 years old, which I'm doing pretty soon. So.
All right, very nice. So number 2, when you were a young boy, who was your celebrity crush?
Wow. The first thing that comes to mind is probably Magnum PI, Tom Selleck over in Hawaii, driving around in Ferraris. I just wanted to be that guy,
Exactly. So what is either a book or a podcast or a show that you're into right now?
Well, there's so many of them. Of course, I listen to yours all the time. My favorite probably would be Tim Ferriss. Yeah. Tim Ferriss just he's just podcast. Come out of nowhere over the past 5 or 10 years, and he just gives so much good content.
Exactly. And are you currently working with any coaches?
Great question. I don't have any hired coaches. I'm in between hired coaches. So I do have mentors, though. I've got mentors that I ask questions of and surround myself with. And as you would well know, when you are growing and getting outside your comfort zone, you'll go through different levels of coaching and stuff as to where you want to go with your business. So I'm actually looking for that right now, is where I'm going to take my business and kind of the best coaching for that. I mean, I love going to all of Tony Robbins stuff, that kind of thing.
Excellent. So what is your favorite movie of all time?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is a silly American movie called Independence Day. I don't know why. I love alien movies. I always have. And just the world coming together and fighting aliens instead of each other I just love that movie. I could watch it anytime.
Nice. And are you currently involved in any masterminds?
Well, I have my own mastermind. It's called San Diego REIA Mastermind, San Diego REIA Mastermind. You can find that on Facebook. And I have a couple of masterminds that are a little bit secret, where it's some smaller guys who are multimillionaires, and we kind of come together and help each other out. Yeah, I really recommend getting into any mastermind. How I really set goals to become the real estate investor I am was I started my own mastermind with a few buddies in a coffee shop. Yeah. So I really recommend you do it. You don't have to go join one, create your own.
That's right. So name a person, either dead or alive, who you'd most like to meet and have dinner with.
Okay. Well, let's go back to Jimmy Buffett. I'd love to go hang out with that guy, right? Hang out with Jimmy, go fly around in some airplanes and maybe go to Key West. And then Richard Branson. I think everybody probably has Richard Branson on there.
Quite a few. Quite a few people have mentioned Richard Branson. So
for sure.
What's your favorite type of vacation? Is it a beach vacation or an adventure tour?
Okay. I'm a big adventurer. I will go backpacking by myself around the world. I'll jump on a plane with just a backpack and do my own thing. So, I love to go to beach areas, though. I love to go to areas where I can access a beach, but also go inland or go somewhere and go do adventure stuff. The zip lining, the going down the rivers and riding elephants. So I like a mixture of it. I don't like to just sit on the beach.
That's awesome. What's the best business advice you ever received?
Wow. Well, I have to refer to my bedgoodism number 1, which is in my book, Veteran Flipper. Really was the best I heard. Failure plus persistence equals success.
Yeah, definitely. Most people that are successful have had failure once, twice, or many times in their life, and it's that perseverance that keeps you going and makes you successful. That's what I believe, anyway.
Yeah, entrepreneurs are risk takers, and that involves failure sometimes. But if you keep persisting, you're going to succeed. So
the last question is a 2-parter. So what of these is your favorite? Not what you consume all the time, but what's your favorite? Is it water, beer, or wine? Pizza, wings, or salad?
Okay. Well, you get into in your 40s, you start realizing beer and wine and pizza are probably not the best things you should be doing. But I do love my pizza.
Yeah.
I do drink a lot of water nowadays. I drink a lot of water. I love my craft beer here in San Diego. We're one of the #1 craft beer places in the world. So you know what, John, to be honest, I love it all.
Excellent. So Chris, as mentioned, I'm a firm believer in everything we go through and how we deal with things shapes and helps us become the person that we are. Can you touch on how you dealt with the tragedies earlier in your life that you can attribute to your success today?
Yeah, John, thank you very much. I don't know how far I can go into it because it's certainly something I could talk about for hours and hours because I realized when writing my book, Veteran Flipper, A Real Estate Investor's Flags to Riches Journey, that, everybody's life really is a journey getting them to where they are. And I realized in writing that book that the tragedies that affected me when I was younger actually were, those negative things actually turned into positives for my life, because instead of how a lot of people will take tragedy and just go into a dark cave and never do anything, entrepreneurial people will actually take those things and turn them into something powerful and positive and move forward. I mean, I'm literally getting chill bumps thinking about it right now because the power of tragedy, the power of failure, if you take that and use it for yourself to better yourself, which ends up bettering your family and your friends, don't forget,
yeah.
then you have an amazing formula for success. And, I have some tragedies in my life and, you just got to deal with them, right?
So were there any specific mindset techniques that you used, or was there somebody that sort of helped you through those situations or that you relied on? Was there something specific, or how did you get through it all?
Well, like my mom, when I was 15, she was a registered nurse, a very beautiful woman, very educated. And she just had enough of whatever was going on in her life, and for some reason, she decided to take a bunch of pills, and fortunately, she survived. She attempted suicide and survived because of my dad. Sorry, I get a little worked up when I talk about it, but my dad was there, and he was able to scoop her up and take her to the hospital, and she survived. But I didn't really realize how it affected me at that time until I was later. But I can remember when I was 15 that I had an awakening. I had this moment of going, gosh, it sounds like I might be on my own, and I grew up probably 10 years in an instant just by realizing that I'm my own destiny,
right.
Not my parents, not my high school, not college education, nothing. I have to make things happen. So I didn't really have people help me work through that, to be honest. I joined the Navy at 17, which really probably is what, helped me get through it. It got my mind off of all those issues, and I just was thrown right into, serving my country and becoming an airplane mechanic, and that took my mind off everything. And I learned a lot in that. So the military structure, even though I'm not very military, I got out after 7 years because I just couldn't see myself retiring. But it was best 7 years of my life. I traveled the world, and I grew up so much, and it set me on the path to where I am today. And I'm not saying that people need to join the military. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying find something or someone or something that you can join or get into that allows you to keep pushing forward instead of wallowing, in your pity. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So, Chris, I mentioned in the intro that, after you get out of the Navy and you were working on private jets, you started having some conversations with the owners of the planes that you're working on. Now, is there any one specific conversation that stands out, or can you take us through some of the conversations that you might have had that led you to the decision of getting into real estate?
Yeah, I can. I have a funny story. I was working as a licensed FAA mechanic, and I had already been hired. I had already been working for many companies over the years, and finally I worked my way up. Right, I was about 10 years junior to people to my peers, so I was already getting ahead and doing things that others weren't doing. So let's just say when I got a job at, say, 25 years old or 30 years old, my peers were like 40 and 50 years old. So I always had this do more type of spirit. But I was working on an airplane one day, and the owners came up in these stretch Mercedes and BMWs, and they just start unloading all this ski equipment and all this stuff, and they're just throwing it into the back of this $30 million airplane like it's a Winnebago. I mean, like nothing to them. And I'm like, where are you guys going? Well, we're going to meet the yacht in Fiji. So they had sent the 110-foot yacht ahead of them. And I'm like, wait a minute. So it laid the groundwork for me asking a lot of questions. It turns out and I already knew that they were in real estate, of course, because I was their employee, but I really just never thought about it. I said, can I do this? And it comes to find out that literally their father or grandfather had started flipping houses. And now they had built this up to developing massive 100-unit complexes and 500-unit towns, house subdivisions, and they were just living the life. They would go down to Baja and race cars. It was exciting, and I said, I've got to do something different today.
So how long did it take before you actually took action and started to look at real estate investing as a part-time opportunity?
John, it's a great question. I want everybody to listen. Immediately. Just immediately. Because there's no time to wait. No. Once you find out something that you see could bring you a better life, why wait, right? So I have to tell though, I got one of those postcards in the mail. There wasn't a lot of email back then.
Yeah.
There is now. You get it all over. There was no Facebook, and I got a postcard in the mail that said, "Hey, come to this free seminar and talk about real estate." I said, why wouldn't I do that? It was a Saturday when usually I'd be at the gym or trying to find some fun or trouble to get into. Yeah. I changed my mindset and I said, I can do that later. I need to change my life now. So I went and I attended that thing, and that's where I kind of got started.
Awesome. So Chris, once you decided to get into the real estate investing, did you go it sounded like you went the traditional seminar route where you went to one of those seminars, or did you just go into hiring a mentor at the beginning and work with them? Sort of what was your foray into it? It sounds like you went to one of the seminars.
Well, that's a great question. Excuse me. I went to a free training. And I got my feet wet, and then I actually invested in the next phase, which was what many people call a boot camp, yeah. Right? And then I decided, you know what? I don't need any more coaching. I don't need any of this. Which, when I look back on it, was probably a mistake. But I was the type of person who's like, okay, I've got enough information, I can go and do this. And I just started setting goals. One of the main things that I learned was I have to set goals and I have to keep myself accountable. And so I just started working it. And then I ended up going, there's got to be a faster, better way. And I did end up applying for the mentoring program that they had. And I paid, I think at the time, $30,000 for it. Best $30,000 I ever spent. Yeah. And I continue to spend money on coaching and mentoring for different phases of the goals that I set for myself. So
yeah, what I find, and I'm not sure if you find this as well, the people who actually take action and see results always say that it was money well invested whenever they invest in education and coaches and mentors. They're the ones that actually take action and make things happen. The ones that,
Yeah.
and that's probably 3 to 5% of the people that go to these courses. The other 95% say, "Oh, that stuff doesn't work," or they blame it on the course or whatever, or their environment or whatever the situation is, and they refuse to blame it on themselves for not taking the consistent, persistent action and always educating themselves. Is that something you find now being an educator? Do you find that as well?
I do. We have a very high success rate, but with that said, is because we really try to promote mindset and accountability for yourself. Because I do this little thing when I speak about becoming really good friends with your mirror. And I know that sounds silly, but it's really like you can brush your hair and do your teeth and shave, but you really need to look in that mirror every day and tell yourself that you are your only path to success. You can hire everybody and pay as much money in the world, but if you don't every morning set goals and work through the system, then you're going to have a much more difficult time, or it's just going to take you longer. So yes, John, we see that all the time. We try to keep people accountable. Nothing in life is easy, or everyone would be doing it. Exactly. And it's the same thing for real estate. You don't. It's not a get rich quick thing by any means, but it can make you rich. And when we talk about, and John, if anybody knows this, you would know this, is why. We teach someone how to fish instead of giving them the fish, right? Yeah. So once they pay their tuition to be involved, can you imagine paying a little bit of money to be in my sphere of influence? To me, it's when I paid and hired my mentors, being able to be in their world immediately accelerated everything. And once I made my money back, everything else was gravy, right?
Exactly.
I created a system, and now it just duplicates itself. And that's what's so exciting about having a system.
Exactly. So how long did your first project take? Going back to your very first project, how long did it take? And were you still working on airplanes full time? And can you tell us a little bit about that project?
I sure was. I was working on airplanes, and I had set goals. I have a couple of different what would you call it, transitions in my career. So when I first started out, it was back in around 2004 when I really set goals. And I was buying pre-construction properties around the country. And as you well know, in 2006, the market started to shift. And in 2007, it just went it just crapped out, to be completely frank. And I got caught up in that because I was what you would call an armchair investor. And I don't really blame my mentors or anything, because nobody understood really what was happening except for the insiders in Wall Street now. And we now know that, but nobody knew it at the time. Yeah. And so I actually, I knew the business, but I was going the easy route rather than looking at the numbers properly, following what my mentors were saying exactly about running the numbers. And I was going the easy route. So then in 2009, 2010, because failure plus persistence equals success, I didn't give up. Even though I had lost a few things, I had some short sales, I even had some foreclosures, I went out, I found more money, more investors, and started buying property again without using any of my own money. And to your question, that the first house that I really, when I got back on my feet, that I did, it took about 3 months. It was a pretty easy in and out flip, carpet paint, kitchens, bathrooms, paint, and get in and get out. And then I started doing more and more difficult projects, foundation repairs and adding square footage and stuff like that.
Yeah, excellent. We'll be back just after the short video commercial break. So we'll be back in about 50 seconds. So Chris, what were some of your biggest, earliest challenges that you had when you started this full time, and how did you overcome some of those challenges?
Well, some of the biggest challenges were just finding the time and really changing my mindset to what time really means. Because I think anyone can make excuses. And one of the big problems for me was I had excuses. I had the education in front of me because I invested in my education for real estate. I actually had time to do it. But what I really had too much of was excuses, to be frank. And so once I overcame how that was affecting my life, that's when I just changed everything, and I created a formula for my day, how to map out my day from morning to night. And I still managed to get in all my traveling, all my adventures, whatever I needed to do. I still got that in. You'll be surprised at how much time you actually have once you dedicate yourself to your future. Yeah.
So, can you go into detail, maybe some of the specific challenges, like within the real estate, some of the flipping challenges you had in flipping, as well as what were some of the major challenges you had in starting an education business?
Well, getting into the flipping business, you're looking for money, right? Everyone is like, they finding the deals, of course, and then, finding the money to do the deals. And really, everything in real estate is about relationships, and there are people out there who have the property or know where to get the property, such as realtors. Yep. Call 20 realtors a day. I guarantee you're going to start finding property. But that is a relationship. So you create that relationship. You create, you get that realtor to feel like you're the go-to person. Then you have properties coming your way, and there's a million other ways to find property. That's one of the easiest. Yeah. And then, finding the money. So finding the money, that's another relationship thing. You can go to your local RIA groups or go to your local education groups or talk to doctors, lawyers, retirees, people who have money, or you can just find other developers, which is one of the easiest ways, is to go find other developers out there who are, flipping houses or developing property. They usually have access to money, and you can go and partner with them on your deals. As far as the real estate education company, wow. I mean, one of the biggest challenges I've ever had in my life, and it still is a challenge, because first and foremost, I want to fulfill people's dreams. I want to get them successful. And so creating this program that I built over the last 4 years with my partners has been one of the biggest challenges that I could have ever imagined, because when you put it down all on paper and then you put it into something that people can actually understand and use and grow with, it's been very interesting. And then setting up the seminars, and it's interesting. I love it because I love a challenge. I like to tell people that I live outside of my comfort zone. I thrive living outside of my comfort zone, and this has been one of those things for me. So
awesome. So at what point did you actually quit your aviation job or your job working on aircraft? So how far into your real estate business did you actually decide, okay, I'm generating enough that I can actually quit my full-time job and do this full-time?
So my story is a little different, John. I was one of those people who actually got fired. And I wrote about that in my book because it was such a pivotal point. Some people make it to in their real estate career where they're doing it part-time and they make enough to where they quit their job, right? Yeah. Which is amazing. But other people, like myself, I was working a six-figure job, having plenty of time, living a great life, getting into real estate. And one day, because in corporate aviation, usually when a company starts having financial issues, the first department to go is the aviation department. Okay. Yeah. And my company was having challenging times at the time, and I got let go. And it was like, okay, what do I do? Well, I'm a relationship guy. I know that networking is something that I need to do, which everyone listening needs to always be doing. And even in aviation, I was networking. And the next day I had a job for $80,000 a year offered to me. But I was already getting into real estate, right? Mm-hmm. My mindset was already changing. And so like a lot of fired people do, they think about going and get another job, or they go, no, I no longer want to rely on someone giving me a job and me having to make their dreams come true. So what I did is I didn't take that other job. I got rid of all my bills. I just really went down into having zero bills, used credit cards, started doing all the basics of getting into real estate, really setting goals. And I worked on airplanes part-time. So what I would do is I would take like contractor positions, right? Where I would charge like $50 an hour. I'd make a little bit of money and I would go do deals until finally one day it took me, I would say about 6 months to where I didn't have to take contract jobs anymore. Yeah. So I know I kind of got way off there, but I was one of those guys who got fired and decided never to go back.
Well, that's the exact path that I took as well. I lost my 6-figure consulting job during the recession, and it's like, okay, what am I going to do now? Who's going to hire me? Right in this environment right now, especially in our area, it's heavily reliant on oil and gas. And during the recession, the price of oil dropped considerably, and it's like, well, I had to make a decision. So I ended up jumping into real estate investing. I had taken a few courses as well, and I got into the rent to own, focusing on the sandwich lease option, what didn't actually need any cash. So I ended up doing that and being very successful in doing that. But it was that sort of you're forced into making a decision. There's no easy transition. There's no, okay, well, I'll do this for a while, so I'll have 6 months of income. Like, there was none of that. It's like, you give them 1 day notice and it's like, okay, I have to make a decision. What am I going to do?
Yeah, same thing for me.
Yeah. So Chris, what made you decide to start an education company teaching real estate investors, or how did you get into the education component?
Well, a lot of people who do very well at this type of business, they have people that come to them and ask them to help them, to mentor them, right? Yeah. And of course, my A&E cable TV show, gave me a lot of credibility also and accelerated that. And I had a lot of companies kind of coming to me, actually wanting to promote me, wanting to use me as a kind of a dog and pony show around the country. And I said, what, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to have my hands in people's pockets and some 22-year-old sales guy selling them stuff who's never even done a deal before. If I'm going to do this, I want to build it from the ground up, right? So I have more of a hands-on experience, and I can actually meet these people. And most of my top students all have my cell phone number and stuff like that. So I just decided, why don't I take this and see where it goes? It was another challenge. I could continue just flipping houses and building massively big business or whatever, and still have income from my realtor. But I was like, why not try this? Because I already have those businesses. Why not take this as another opportunity? And everyone out there watching and listening, opportunities are, people say, oh, you're so lucky, Chris. John, how many times have you heard someone go, you're so lucky, John? And I just look at them and I go, no, I work my butt off, and I take opportunities that come my way and I turn them into something. And so being an educator, being a mentor, and being a coach has been amazing. We're just really getting started. Last year was our process of getting our feet off the ground and making it into a real business. And we've got some exciting stuff happening this year. And I'm looking forward to the challenge and looking forward to helping a lot of people become successful in real estate.
So what do you think the biggest difference between your education company and coaching business and, say, the majority of the other ones out there? What is the number one biggest difference?
There are a lot of great companies out there. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. And I'll tell you why, is because I still go to, like John, I would go to your training. I don't know everything anything about lease options. I know a lot. I've made money doing lease options and wraparounds and all that stuff, but it's not my niche. So, there's a lot of people out there doing things that can make you money in real estate, because I know that I've been to some real estate education things, and I heard one guy give me one suggestion that I made a lot of money on. So I think that if there was a difference in mine, it's that I come from no money, no college education, no wealthy family. Nobody knew anything in my family about real estate, and I didn't have any rich uncle to go borrow money from. So we teach people literally from going from a cashier in how to recognize the signals and the words and the lingo going on out there in your everyday life, and how to turn that into money because you start understanding the business. And we take you on a step-by-step process. So we have an amazing back end. One of the things that we offer that a lot of people don't is we offer an in-market mentor, where we actually fly one of our very successful real estate mentors into your hometown to sit with you one-on-one. Instead of you just sitting in a classroom, we're going to have a guy sitting in your living room. So that's one of the things we offer, because it was one of the things that I liked when I was coming up and wished that I would have had.
Yeah, definitely. That's the type of coaching that I did with all my private clients as well. Is I am not going to sit there and coach you and regurgitate stuff. It's all hands-on. If you actually want to do this business, then let's spend 3 days and actually go out and do this business. Let's go meet homeowners. Let's go out and negotiate. Let's put things into action, not sit in a room and just talk about something. I mean, you're not doing any business that way.
Exactly. And we have a process where we go through a boot camp, then we go to another immersion, which is 3 days, and we do the in-market mentoring. So, I mean, you get so much content and so much hands-on. It's incredible.
I think the hands-on is the biggest key there. So what motivated you to write the book Veteran Flipper, a real estate investor's flags to riches journey? So what motivated you to write that book?
Well, I think everybody has a secret bucket list, right, of writing a book. And John, you've got some amazing ones out there. I can't wait to catch up with you and have several bestsellers. One of the things, to be completely frank, I needed it for credibility. I had a story, and people want to hear my story, because it's not just about, okay, go out, call realtors, go out and pick out granite countertops and look at the foundation. No, it's also about your story. And I felt that my story was something that might help motivate people to get them to not only learn how to do real estate, but also to change their mindset, because that is really where the 80-20 rule comes in. 80% of people aren't doing anything, and 20% are the ones who are succeeding, and even a smaller 5 to 1% are the ones who are really thriving. Yeah. I thought that, I'll write a book. It'll help with my credibility. It'll help with giving it as a handout to my students and to people who want to know more and get them into our system. I just felt like I have a story to tell. How do I get it out there? Why don't I write a book? So that's what I did. Writing
a book is probably the #1 fastest way to becoming the expert or the authority in whatever your market is. So definitely, if you haven't thought about writing a book, for those who are watching, definitely consider writing a book. If you're looking to accelerate your business or your field of expertise, and it doesn't matter what your business or field of expertise is, there's a market for your book, and it really will position you as a go-to person. So Chris, tell us how you were chosen to be part of A&E's TV show. And then what was the second part of that? What's the show done for you and your business? So how did you pitch them? Did they pitch you? How did that all transpire?
It's a great story, John. A great question. It was networking. Really, everyone out there needs to be networking constantly. I don't care if you want to get into real estate or you want to, open up a acai bowl shop, or move to Hawaii and open a surf shop. You need to network, because you got to find people who can help you get into your dreams, right? So I was working as an agent I was working on how I was in the house flipping business, but I was also working as an agent, and I had talked to my broker. He was like, Chris, what are you doing? I said, I'm flipping another house this week. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So he knew that I flipped houses. Well, he happened to be the president of the Association of Realtors here in San Diego, and he got a spam email from a production company asking if he knew of any people flipping houses in San Diego. And since I had become very good friends with him, networking with him, he trusted me, he liked me. You know, John, John, the saying, people only want to work with people they know, like, and trust. Yeah, exactly. He could have sent that application to many people, and he chose to send it to me. Long story short is I got the email, I filled out the application, even though I really didn't want to, but my fiance was like, Chris, go ahead and fill it out. What have you got to lose? So I did, and I chose a partner that I had been doing a lot of deals with, Chief. And the first time we did not get the show. Okay, so the first show that came out from that production company was Flipping Boston. Okay, so Flipping Boston came on, and that show took off. And so the same production company that did Flip This House, everybody knows Flip This House, and then the same production company that did Flipping Boston, they came back to us again, had us try out again, and then we got the show. So that's it in a nutshell.
So what did it do for your business?
Well, it gave me credibility. It didn't do anything while we were filming, to be honest, because no one knew that we had a show. We were filming, and actually the filming took up so much time that we were actually missing out on deals. I probably missed out on 20, 30 deals because I was filming this silly flipping show, right? And, but I knew the bigger picture was there, so I stuck with it. We did the show, and once it came out, it helped with credibility. You know, realtors took me more seriously. Homeowners took me more seriously when I talked to them about me being a legitimate guy. Contractors took me more seriously. Yeah. So it helped with that. I wouldn't say that it was some kind of magical carpet ride that took me to the Jay Leno show, because no, that did not happen. You know, you always wish it would, but it's been a slow build. I'm glad I have it, but you know, who knows what would happen if I hadn't have had it. I don't know. It's helped me with my show and my education business and give me a lot of credibility.
Excellent. So what's next for you, Chris? What are you working on? You got anything specific, short term, long term? What's in the picture?
Oh, you know what also got me, John? It got me on your podcast.
No, that was actually meeting in San Diego 2 or 3 times at the marketing events. That's what got you on the show.
All right.
So what's in store? What's next?
Well, I am looking to start building my portfolio is one thing. I want to build, building true wealth is always constantly building your portfolio of probably, rental homes and stuff like that. So that's constantly on the horizon, is looking for those markets where there's good deals, buying apartment buildings, stuff like that. So I'm really looking into, now this is just for me. Everybody who wants to flip houses, go for it. I'm still flipping. I do a lot of wholesaling. And I'm also looking to build up my buy and hold portfolio, which I've been putting aside over the last couple of years. So that's one of the big things. I want to work less and enjoy my life.
Excellent. Well, Chris, that's all the time that we have for today, and I personally want to thank you for being on the show and sharing your journey with us and your vast experience in real estate investing and just some of your stories. What we'll do is we'll post all the contact links for Chris in the comments or the show notes for today's show, so you can connect with him should you have any questions or want to know more about Chris. There's also, you can get his download his book, I believe, for free. Yeah, I have a text code. I'll put that in there as well. So everyone show Chris some love by hitting the like button, the love button, and be sure to share this with your friends on Facebook and any other pages that you belong to. And Chris, as mentioned, it's been great having you on the show, and I look forward to catching up with you real soon.
Thanks, John. I really enjoyed it. Can't wait to talk to you soon.
All right. And for everyone else, just stick around. Just going to close this out with some closing remarks. Well, thanks for joining me on today's John A. McCabe Show, where we work with entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, and speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed anywhere, anytime, on any device. Now, also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, if you're someone who's looking to take your business to the next level and want to get some coaching advice, why not apply to be a guest on today's show? Now, for most entrepreneurs, we want to create a life of our own, create our own path, and do what we can to reach our own desired outcome, which is generally freedom. Freedom to choose what we want to do, when we want to do it, and with whom we want to do it. A life that's full of options and choices, where we worry less about money and more about the quality of time that we spend with others. Now, a great way to make that happen is to leverage other people's knowledge, time, and skill sets. Step one to reaching our freedom life is to realize that you can't do it alone. Working with a coach or being involved in masterminds is a great way for entrepreneurs to move their business forward. Now, a coach can help you shorten the time frame to get you from where you are to where you want to be, while being part of a mastermind is meant to bring entrepreneurs together, all with the goal of helping each other move forward with their business. Now, the second step to creating the life you envision for yourself as an entrepreneur is to implement systems into your business so you can streamline your operations, leverage systems, and free up your time to focus on your family, having fun, and the highest leverage activities in your business. You know, the activities that get you the biggest return on your time invested, the ones that truly make you money. Now, sometimes we just don't know what systems we need, how to implement those systems, or even have the time to find out what is needed. Now, working with a coach or consultant that understands, uses, and specializes in systems that can streamline your operations can help save you time, aggravation, and make you a lot more money. Now, for example, having a system or strategy that allows you to leverage just 15 hours of your time into enough repurposed content to get you seen, get you heard, get you noticed anywhere, anytime, on any device is a great example of leverage. Now, just imagine a system where you invest just 15 hours of your time, and the end result is you're a #1 best-selling author. You have enough content that's going to get you seen, get you heard, get you noticed anywhere, anytime, on any device. You have a successful podcast. Now, it's automatically attracting more attention, giving more value, and generating more leads, which enables you to attract an abundance of paying customers. Now, this is also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, to find out more about the Authority Acceleration Blueprint coaching program or mastermind, then contact me via my website at johnamccabe.com or connect with me through my show's Facebook page. Now, again, thank you for joining us on today's show, and I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's show when I have another great guest on discussing their business and accelerating their authority. So have yourself an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon.